Private Limited, working on AI-driven platforms, edge intelligence, secure systems, and applied research across domains such as education, healthcare, agriculture, and smart infrastructure. He has been actively engaged in research, consulting, and collaborative initiatives, consistently bridging the gap between theory, system designs, and societal impact. I now invite Dr. Satyajit Das to deliver his address. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. I'll just share my entire screen and I'll start presenting. So today we'll see the aspect of trustworthy AI, actually what it means and what exactly it transforms into the societal and safety critical systems and impact in the society. So this part also I'll focus. I hope I'm audible and my screen is also visible. And so we'll proceed with the overview. So first, I'll talk about the trustworthy AI, what exactly it means. And we will use some framework provided by NIST, National Institute of Science and Technology, which devises the different standards. And secondly, we will also talk about why safety critical systems demand basically the trustworthiness that we are going to talk. And then next, we will focus on the key technical risks which will impact basically this entire ecosystem in the trustworthiness of the AI models, like drifting of the model's behavior, adversarial inputs, uncertainty. Then we'll talk about the socio-technical technical risks, such as fairness, then privacy, transparency. So these are few aspects which we need to keep in mind from the societal point of view. So that also will just highlight. And in the end, we'll talk about the complete system, basically how it should be deployed. So the AI models, so AI systems are being deployed nowadays. It's widespread. And from that deployment strategies point of view, what exactly is the trustworthiness that also we'll look at. So one of the most important lessons from industry is the real world failures. Basically, failures means the system failure can happen. There are many failures, but mostly these failures does not always mean that the model is at fault. So they come from different aspects like data pipeline, like interfaces, monitoring gaps, human workflow. So if you see the entire ecosystem here on the right side blocks, the ML code or ML model is very tiny part of this entire ecosystem. It's amalgamation of all these different components which actually make this entire AI deployment happens. So now when we are talking about trustworthy AI therefore require this end-to-end thinking from requirements, which is specified in the configuration, and then to design validation and operations. So, so these two questions are very important to look at, like what can go wrong and what evidence proves that it is safe enough, because most of the ML models that are being deployed, mostly these deep learning based models, are kind of black boxes. So we need to consider these two questions and answer. If we do not have answer, then this entire pipeline is supposed to not supposed to flawlessly work in its entire lifetime. So what is trustworthy AI? Trust is a kind of multidimensional aspect. So NIST, as I was defining, NIST defines trust as this context dependent and multidimensional aspect. So accuracy or reliability is not only the only metric from the model that you expect. So what are the other components? The safety. the security, the explainability or interpretability of the model, and fairness. Obviously, privacy is part of the entire ecosystem as well. So this entire multi-dimension is to be taken care of while deployment this of these new generation AI models to have its proper impact in the society that it is going to serve. So that's why this here we are actually emphasizing this critical issue, which is the risks that are going to involve in the impact of the deployment. So when we deploy one AI model, it's not just we put that AI model. Let's say we are putting that AI model for my computer vision applications in the smart cameras and so on and so forth. So where I want to detect something, I want to predict something, I want to analyze something. So for any application as such, for an example, I have taken this computer vision example, but there can be any kind of application. If we do not define the safety requirements properly and the threat models, then it's actually at risk because those are black box models and we exactly do not know how to actually validate the outcomes with certainty at all the time. And you can notice in this entire diagram, the center is essentially people and planet because AI impact is always socio-technical. So we cannot extract people and planet out of this picture and deploy our AI models. So that's why all these components should serve trustworthiness. And this entire life cycle of the AI models should actually be uh, deployed, putting or taking into those risk factors into account. So trustworthy AI is not a one-time checklist. So basically here we have the govern, map, measure, and manage kind of way to think. So govern means obviously to define the roles, accountability, and documentation, which will essentially see that these AI models should work exactly the rules that we have defined for. Map means the understanding of the context, stakeholders, which are the beneficiaries of this model, whether there is any harm or not. So those harm scenarios also need to be taken care, or at least interpret that in the beginning, that this in this context for these stakeholders these harm scenarios can happen, and what are the assumptions that we are going to take. Obviously measures, the measurements means this building evidence through tests and metrics. So there are many such ways to define the explainability or interpretability of these models that we are going to actually deploy. So that's why the measurements of the testing in different environments also is very important to satisfy certain metrics from this kind of models. So and obviously in the end we need to have some strategy to mitigate certain risk factors, and we need to also monitor the incidents also need to be reported. So all these mechanisms should be there, and then they should work across or work accordingly to build this entire trust of the AI ecosystem. So when we are talking about safety critical systems, this requirement is actually the highest or top priority. So in safety critical system means what? Safety critical systems means where failure can cause physical, financial, or societal harm. So that means, let's say, transportation. So if I'm going to deploy some computer vision models into my automated car, or let's say self-driving cars, obviously I need to have some mechanisms to say that it has detected this as person, or this particular object as dog or cat or whatever, or let's say roadside or not roadside, stop sign, or it's the sign for slowing down. So all these aspects to be let's say detected or predicted, but obviously at the same point of time we need to have a mechanism for for interpreting these classifications or predictions through evidence. So if we do not have evidence to explain, then it's not going to work basically. I mean, it will be working as a black box, but we will not have the flexibility to use it in actual scenario where this societal impact is there. Similarly, we do not just demonstrate performance, we argue safety with evidence. So that is very, very important. Right. So that's why also this detection of such failures, which are not going to be, let's say, explainable by the system or the model that we are going to deploy, that also need to be taken care, and things like that should be informed or documented as early as possible. So that's why this type of model, like bow tie model, is commonly the used to or go-to approach for safety engineering in the AI model deployment, where the safety critical systems are at work, like healthcare, self-driving car, power grids, industrial control. So if I am going to deploy industrial control in a nuclear factory, or wherever the control mechanisms are automated with the AI models deployed, obviously I need to have this kind of safety engineering strategy. And this bow tie approach actually helps to engineer that properly. So on the left hand side, you are seeing we identify the causes, and in the center we have the risk event. So why it happened and what this will lead to basically, and then we add prevention controls before failure. So like each control must have some evidence, like why exactly you detected that this is going to approach to, let's say, a failure mode. So I have to explain with some feature or exactly why it has detected that, and basically based on that, so there should not be any assumptions as such in this entire pipeline. So that is the strategy that we usually adopt. From the robustness point of view, one of the biggest reasons AI fails in production and distribution shift is basically the drifts that happen. Okay, so once that is deployed, that is, these AI models are used basically to train with some data already we provided. So that has been trained already. So once that training data is never the same at the after the deployment, because it will not see the data which is going to come after the deployment. New users will come, new devices will come. Maybe it will be applied to new locations also. So small shifts can cause large errors also. So especially near decision boundaries where this will apply. So in safety critical systems, we often prefer conservative models with safe fallback over the highest benchmark accuracy. So accuracy is not that much of importance where we are going to apply it for safety critical systems. Rather, it should have this safe fallback mechanism inside that to get rid of this uncertainty of these models into safety critical environment, where we may not be preferring highest accuracy model. Okay, so if we publish papers on any AI models, we usually prefer to publish with highest accuracy or highest performance, but that is not exactly desirable for safety critical system deployment. So one such example here, you are seeing the adversarial example. So this is a classic example where it shows that uh, a very imperceptible perturbation can completely change the predictions. Like if I can show you one example here, I already ran it, and you all know the MNIST dataset, and you can see that this is a perturbed data. So on the top you are seeing the clean data, which is the original data that is it is detecting after the training. So this is a very simple neural network which is trained on MNIST dataset, and we are detecting this handwritten digits by this model. Now on the bottom, you are seeing these adversarial images, which are being perturbed with few pixels distorted from the original pixel. And you can see that the predictions or the classification has completely changed, whereas the classification for the clean images were perfectly fine. The classification for the perturbed image has completely changed. So you can imagine that for safety critical systems, this kind of AI model, we cannot just deploy it with highest accuracy, right? So similarly, there are many such examples of adversarial attacks, and there are mitigations to do it, to evade it, like adversarial training, input defenses. So we get input with already part of data. Sensor fusion is another approach. Anomaly detection is another approach. So these are the different approaches we use to mitigate such adversarial attacks on the safety critical system. So you can imagine that uh, the stop signs or the let's say direction signs, all this should be read by the AI model that is going to work in these self-driving cars. And at the same time, if you have different lighting conditions, different angle of this positioning of these signboards, so essentially you are going to change the data behavior onto your model work. So you may not need highest accuracy, but you should be able to define why it has detected stop sign as stop sign itself. It even if there is different lighting conditions or different angle of these signs, it should not detect it something else, right? So all these things need to be taken care at the model itself, and that's why this uncertainty. When I say that if the model thinks that I'm uncertain, then what it should do. So in this case, let's say for certain images, it is not certain whether it's stop sign or any other sign, or let's say it is saying 90 kilometer per hour. It can think, right? I mean, it's just the way that it is seeing this particular signboard. So at certain cases, when these AI models are going to be uncertain, when they think that I'm not going to make proper choice, or the classification output is not within a certain threshold of confidence score, then obviously I need to have a fallback mechanisms. That means uncertain cases cannot be routed as a simple decision. Okay, so it should be routed to humans or safer fallback systems. So that kind of system should be there. And another aspect is again explainability. So explainability supports the oversight. Let's say if I have modified some of the parts of the pixel of the image here, whether my model is going to detect it something else or not. So why these pixels are important, or why I have made certain classification choice, because of which pixels, or which pixels in the end is going to uh, let's say support or drive the decision that I'm going to take. So that is another aspect of explainability, where local explanations answer why this decision has been made, and global explanations answer the what exactly mattered in this entire data set. But obviously, explanations can be unstable and misleading also at some point of time. So each slide that I'm going to show basically leads to one research problem, because here in safety critical systems, explainability component is important, but it never replaces the rigorous testing. So if you do not test it, like for an example, if I take the example of the explainable method called line. Line is one explainable method, which is uh, post hoc method. So here we can use any model. So you can see that this particular image has been detected by as tiger with highest confidence score. Now my question is, which are the pixels that have been vital for this particular detection, right? So uh, we say that this line method is saying that these are the pixels which are basically important to detect this particular image. as tiger. So now as a human, I can interpret that why it has detected it as tiger. So if the model has detected by looking at other pixels and detected it properly also, then also I should not be using that particular model because that detection is not exactly interpretable. Trustworthiness is having another component called the privacy. So privacy protection depends on the risk context because let's say privacy means if I am trying to go to deploy a AI model which is using our patient record, let's say, okay, so whether the patient records uh, were masked out properly where this AI model has been trained or not. So privacy protection is important. So starting with data minimization, like when we are collecting data, we should not collect all the data. So whatever is necessary, that we have to see, and we need to collect the data accordingly. And then we can use mechanisms such as differential privacy. Differential privacy is one such way which when we aggregate insights that is used that masks the privacy of the data that has been used. So we can apply secure computation, federated computation, so to also mask out the data. And that's why privacy is both a technical and organizational responsibility, because if I'm going to use certain data set for certain purposes, I should be able to like for an example, healthcare, I should be able to mask out or preserve the confidentiality or integrity of the data of the users or patients as such. Similarly, fairness has its own societal impact. Fairness is fundamentally a kind of risk management problem because we must define the harm who is going to be impacted by the decision that the AI model is taking and how exactly, right? So this fairness measures the performance across the different relevant groups, not just overall accuracy. So that's why this is important, and there is especially no single fairness metric. There is always a trade-off between the data that has been used, the region that I'm going to apply, and so on and so forth, right? So with the interest of time, I will just go through the few scenarios. Like, let's say, security is also important. Like, we have AI systems that have broad attack surface. Whether my uh, a model is vulnerable or prone to training time risk itself or not. Let's say, for an example, if I have some data set which is where these red dots are being detected as a different cluster altogether at the model training time. And if I infuse some of the training model data with some perturbation or some poisoning attack, and then my behavior changes, like all these red dots which were being detected as red in the clean model decision, that has changed in the poison model decision. You can see that means the data points that I used, they have been perturbed, and that changed my decision in the after the training. So that means this model training is especially vulnerable to such poisoning attacks. So we need to take care of that in the model definition itself, and those security risks need to be made available or challenged. So what we do is that we do use model cards, which or where we make these assumptions explicit. So that means you can see that this is an example of model card that is being used to deploy a summary. Here you can see that this model card is used for deploying the model used in NIST. So basically, FAT to 2019 paper that has been used. So this is basically one such example of model card. There are many such formats or templates that people use, but essentially the model should be documented as such. Like here, you can see the model details. So we have basic information about the model, the person or organization that is going to be deployed, or persons that is going to be deployed for, the model date, version, type, and so on and so forth. Then we have intended use, like why we are going to use this model, what are the factors that could include demographic or phenotypic groups. So for which groups that we are going to apply metrics. So what are the metrics that is being used for or that is impacting model performance, decision thresholds, and so on and so forth. Similarly, evaluation data, training data, all the details are there in this model card, which will essentially give a chance for explainability and interpretability in the end also. So that's why the governance artifact is important, and data sets encode essentially the social and technical assumptions. Uh, Documentation is always the key and go-to, let's say, approach for uh, collection, labeling, pre-processing, and also consent, whether the collection of data was consented by the user or not. MLOps usually define the entire uh, the pipeline of the deployment, and trustworthy AI must be operationalized through these MLOps. So essentially, here you are seeing the entire data pipeline of the ML application deployment. So we use usually annotated validation gates before deployment. So there are many such aspects, like canary release will be there, then there will be rollback triggers, exactly the fallbacks must be defined, and there must be also some strategy or uh, some notion of continuous training pipeline, because this should also be defining the trustworthiness along the way, because when the data has been seen by the model, it should add to the training phase also to the model. So that's why this continuous training pipeline uh, is mandatory kind of when we are going to deploy this model for safety critical systems. So in brief, clarity context is important. So what context I'm going to use this AI model? So that should be clarified in the beginning itself, and what are the harms that can happen for the beneficiaries of this model deployment. And then the control designs, mechanisms, what are the chances, or where are the chances this model will fail, and what are the fallback mechanisms, whether there is human in the loop or not. So all these aspects need to be covered. And then obviously documentation, decision limitations will be there. So those also need to be managed. So the key is your accuracy is not the end result or end goal of the AI models that are going to be deployed for safety critical systems. Rather, the trustworthiness, which is the encapsulation of the interpretability, the security, the safety of the model, will define the trustworthiness of the AI model that we are going to deploy for the safety critical systems which have the societal impact. So with this, I'll conclude, and thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to discuss as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Satyajit Das. It is really very interesting and required for need of the hour. And such a small time frame you have given all the information, so it is a big thanks for you. I know a lot of
Thank
questions
you.
will be there, but because of the time's constraint, we'll be taking the question from the participants and we'll pass on to you later. But right now,
Sure.
I have one question I want to
Yeah,
ask. That
sure, sure.
is, what is the practical challenges you faced when you are implementing that trustworthy AI?
So mostly the practical challenge will be the model explainability. So mostly we use post hoc methods So in our paper, which was published in current last year, so we showed exactly the post hoc methods will have some difficulties to explain model agnostic behavior of the outcomes. But if we adopt some intrinsic methods which are going to, let's say, work on the features itself while the model will be trained, there will be having better result in terms of explainability. So interpretability and explainability will give the at least boost to the all the coordinates or components like safety, also improving the safety, security, and the explainability. So that's the key challenge we faced, and we actually proposed a couple of methods also for that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And part of our gratitude and thanks, we will be sending a e-voucher to your mail. I hope you will be using that. Thanks a lot for accepting it. Thanks all the participants. I request Arvind sir
Thank you.
to take over the next. Thank you.
Thank you, Vindhya madam. Am I audible to all?
Yes,
Vindhya
sir.
madam, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm Kusumika.
Hi.
Yeah.
So, good afternoon, everybody. I am Arvind Gupta, professor in CSE department, session chair for this session, with Mr. Ashwin Amrapuram, who is going to share his experience of work in AI Canis that he has done. So, Mr. Ashwin Amrapuram is director and CEO of AI Canist. Ashwin has several decades of experience building AI product companies. He holds several patents and publications and has a master's degree from IISc. He was instrumental in building technologies for GPS, mobile video recording, Indian language speech recognition for mobile, facial recognition, and number plate recognition systems, which is widely used before starting AI Canist. And in AI Canist, he has been focusing on developing, or rather has developed a very good radiology platform for use by radiologists in hospitals. In addition, he is developing multiple plugins for different post-processing applications for various diseases, which radiologists and other specialists will require to analyze and diagnose a patient's data. It has been one of the very good startup focusing in healthcare. A lot of work has been done, and I'm sure he will continue with this excellent work. With these words, I invite Mr. Ashwin Amrapuram to kindly take the dais and share his experience, make his presentation. Ashwin. Yeah, you are on mute.
Yes, thanks, Dr. Abid. So I am happy to actually join here and present to you. I'm outside and I'm joining from my laptop from sitting in my car, but hopefully everything goes fine and I'm able to present everything.
Yes, I'm able to hear you clearly, so you can start
okay,
with your sharing the screen. And
yeah, I'll just share my. It's a little slow. Just hold on for some time till I share it. Actually. So I just wanted to, meanwhile, get some perspective on the audience. Dr. Abid, if you can share me, like is it students and who are
audience is a mixture of students and faculty from the Department of CSE and Department of AIML, who are the co-hosts. So these two departments are hosting this National Congress, and their faculty and students of computer science and AIML, mostly in the second year, third year, are the participants. We had the opening sessions offline by the keynote speaker and another person from industry, Mr. Bharat Reddy. and rest of the sessions are going online over Zoom. Right now, as you may have seen, we have about 50 participants, which includes faculty and students.
Okay, good. So I can say that, it's a room is full of AI enthusiasts. And so happy to present here. So at iCanist, we work on AI in radiology. So, iCanist stands for AI for artificial intelligence, Ken is for knowledge. So we are like, AI knowledge specialist. And so today I'm going to talk about the AI-based post-processing and workflow optimizations in radiology. So this is not anyways a comprehensive thing, but I try to give some glimpse of what actually how the AI is applied in radiology and how it is useful, right? So coming to radiology, so the radiology, as you see today, you need to have go to for CT, MR, X-ray, and different type of scanning, right? And especially for like if you are going to go for MR, if you are not experienced it, so it takes only like 30 minutes to 45 minutes, okay, for just for scanning. And of course, you have to be inside the magnetic bore for that much of time, and it is very not a convenient experience to the patients. Okay, but MR is a beautiful piece of technology. It is actually have the excitations from the magnetic coils, which will actually excite your hydrogen molecules in your body, and based on the how much actually times it takes to go to the steady state, you can plot. And since it's hydrogen, it's a part of water molecule, and it is different tissues have different hydrogen concentration. So basically, you can have a very good tissue extraction and variation in your output. All right, so that's in a nutshell how you can actually talk about how they are. And CT is more on the radiation, so it's a 360-degree X-ray scan. So you will have radiation effect on that. So as a process itself, the patients have to schedule your scanning and go for CT or MR scanning, and then you have to feel on claustrophobic, right, when you go inside the machines. And also there is high radiation exposure if you're talking about CT. And once you do the process, you also have to wait for the report from the radiologist, and it takes time. After it becomes very important that you get reports early, right? And these machines are not cheap, and some of those machines like $1 to $2 million. So this is not a it's a capital intensive business as well. So coming to the kind of solutions that are available, right? So you see that first of the most important thing here is build the AI automation, improve efficiency. You have the radiologists, oncologists who are very states to serve the need. Okay, then in India, 1 in 1 lakh radiologists, which is very low density of radiologists, right? And so there is a need for hugely accelerate the speed and quality of the diagnosis and the treatment. And then the diagnostic machines are also, they're not utilized to 24/7 in many places, but there is a queue. So if you are talking about certain places AIIMS, you have like 1 to 3 years queue for getting. So why? Because there's a very highly subsidized scanning, and people will go for treatment. They actually plenty actually. So they have to wait in the queue to get the treatment. So there is a definitely there's a demand, and then also there are less especially in the public setup, there is higher demand, and that's usually true for even not in India but in also like Europe and other places where 6 months waiting time is there. So and then there is right now a lot of these technologies can also be used for pre-screening. If you look at lung screening, right? So you can do the CT and do the early diagnosis of cancer. And MR is also a safe mode where it's also now being launched to do the screening for multiple cancers early. Okay, so the detection makes it a big difference, as you know that if you detect early cancer, then you can treat early, and the lifespan will improve. On the whole, it is all about better detection, early detection, better understanding of the abnormalities and diseases. That is what actually finally helpful for the treatment and the surgery. Okay. So normally when you do the cases like, there are voluminous cases like X-rays, right? So we do a lot of X-rays per day. And then laborious cases, there are like, all the cancer cases are not easy. Like you need to go through multiple studies, and then you need to actually identify the some of these nodules and its progression over time. And then emergency cases like stroke or abdominal issues. So you have to actually get this detected way. There's a golden hour within which you have to detect. So this is what the AI is all like. You have the MRI, CT. These are the modalities, like what we call it as. Yeah, MRI, CT. MRI is quite different from CT. So just for the students, if you want to actually understand, they're totally different. Okay, so you need to look at one is on the magnetic resonance imaging, and another one is called like tomography, which is based on the X-ray, kind of sensors. So and then the CT, and then the X-ray. Mammo is also like for breast they use it, and then the ultrasound. Ultrasound is based on like sound waves. Then once you have the scans, you also have to improve the signal to noise ratio of the scans. So one is technology that is useful is the fast MRI technology, where you can reduce the scanning time and improve the signal to noise ratio. We do something on that space. And then low dose CT, right? So when you have a radiation issue in the CT, you try to reduce radiation dose as low as possible. So that's the called low dose CT. And then if you do that, then you'll also have a effect on the signal to noise ratio. Then you use algorithms like AI algorithms to improve this signal to noise ratio. And once you have the scan, you also want to detect it. You want to detect different diseases, right? You want to detect stroke, you want to detect hemorrhage, you want to detect tumors, you want to detect nodules, right? So all these are all actually can be done using AI. And then you want to annotate. You want to annotate, you want to segment the organs, you want to segment the tumors, you want to measure the volume. So all that can be also again, based on AI. So overall, with AI applications for these can benefit the patients, radiologist, radiotherapist, and oncologist. Okay. And it's a big industry, opportunity-wise. If you see cancer diagnosis market itself is a very big market, $250 billion. And medical imaging itself is also very growing industry. And key analyses are like different body parts like lung, brain, MSK, breast, cardiovascular, and liver diseases. So what is the actually there is today there is a democratization of hardware by the Chinese companies. So you will have a more cheaper and better hardware coming out there. And India is actually leading in the democratization of AI app and workflow. So we are building a lot of AI applications, AI workflow methods, and then a lot of consumerization is also happening. If you see today, you can use ChatGPT, upload scans and get a report, right? You can also do that in the Google Gemini as well. So these are the like Silicon Valley companies are allowing people to actually upload the scans and get the first understanding. Though no means as a with the riders, like it is you'll have to consult with the radiologists and doctors, but it gives you a good perspective on actually what otherwise you would not have understood your own scan, right? So that is what is happening. Now coming to the AI architecture, I'm assuming that there are some things actually already been discussed, but I want to talk about a little bit on the higher level. What are the important AI architectures that are actually very popular and can be useful in the medical imaging space? So that is one is here I'm showing the UNET. So UNET is a very popular architecture, the most popular architecture used in the in medical imaging. And ResNet is actually started with imaging, like natural images, and it's been used here also, but the variation of ResNet is unit anyway. And the transformers, large language models, and are all built using transformers, variations of that. So transformers are becoming quite popular as well in this segment. And GAN, generative adversarial networks. So these are all again a class of networks which are actually very useful in this domain. And the diffusion network. So these are like some of the architectures where you have an input scan image and then the output detections, right? You can actually have a detection of tumors, nodules, right? And the segmentation of organs. So everything actually is possible with this. So AI actually on the whole for the cancer is used as a diagnostic and prognostic aid for all these cancer and emergency cases. Basically, common detections are for the early detection of lung cancer, and for the central nervous system, it's more on the finding the asymptomatic brain abnormalities. Breast is on the screening for the mammography, using mammography, and prostate is also clinically significant prostate lesion detection. So these are some of the applications that are there as part of this. And characterizations, like you have the segmentations, diagnosis, basically classifying the abnormalities, whether it is a benign or malignant. Staging, what when you do a cancer detection, and you also have to stage it, whether it's a grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. So like that, you have to actually look at that. And imaging genomics is another thing where you can also do on the imaging based genomics data, basically on the use that for tumor characterization. So basically, if you look at the hospital care pathway, you have analyzed where patient clinical record analysis will happen. So once you go for a hospital, so they maintain your records. So they are called electronic medical records, or in a short form EMR. So these records are very useful. These are all the doctor notes. Your clinical history will be presented there. They can be used, AI can be used to analyze that. Okay. And that can also be helped to, basically give a risk score for the patients, and do the, detect also, you can do the prediction, diagnosis, prognosis, surgical planning. All these are part of the examinations where AI can be useful. And also the resource utilization, right? So like, your MR or bits or UT people, how well you can utilize, because if you see that in affordable healthcare is always a strained system, you have very less number of doctors, very less number of, the staff who can actually be at your disposal to take care of things. Okay, so that is where the AI in healthcare makes a very big difference. So at what we are doing in iChemist is we look at patient's flow from the time you actually have an appointment. So we look at assigning a risk score to the patient based on whether what symptoms they have and what history and what prescriptions. And then based on that, we also prioritize whether they want to get scanning early. And we have developed a technology to reduce the MRI scanning time. So normally it takes 30 minutes, so we can reduce that to 15 minutes. And then once the scanning is done, we do the analysis of these scans to detect and also segment the data. And the radiologists use our platform to view the scans and report it. Okay, and so this is the end-to-end what we are looking at reducing the time significantly, more than 70% for the patients. So net effect will be that more and more patients can be made accessible and made affordable for this technology. So what how it helps in the coordinated care is that basically when the patients come to hospital, some of the questions that your doctors need to answer is, does the patient require immediate scanning? Many times people are not recommending CT/MR only because it is actually burdens the patients, because it's higher cost. So they try to do it at the end. But it's important that if the patient requires a scanning, we need to be known. So that is also a very important question to be answered. Does scanning provide a right info for intervention? Like, many times we may scan for something, but that's not enough and doesn't give enough information for scanning. Sorry, for the intervention, like in operations that is need to be conducted. So does the scanning provide the right info for intervention? Also, is there any coordinated care delivery? So if, there are multiple people, stakeholders are involved in it. There are multiple type of specialists. Radiologists have to be involved for actually better outcome for the patients. So we help actually managing this process. So in the times of having a better patient queue management, better scanning process, and better machine utilization. So the way setup is done is that you have CDMR. The scans are pushed to a PACS, or what is called picture archival systems, where the data resides, and the data will be read by the AI and the AI software, which will detect which will enhance the scans to improve the signal to noise ratio and detects tumors and abnormalities. And then once you do that, you prepare a report. That report will be sent to the doctors, and doctors use that report to actually recommend the treatment for you. Okay, depending on whether you want to have surgery or not, so they will recommend based on that report. So the different AI analyses that are possible are for brain. For you can do for both brain scans for CT using CT and MR. So in CT you can do all the abnormality detections like infarct, hemorrhage, tumors. For MR also similar abnormality detections. Spine in MR we detect abnormalities like lesion, fracture. Lung you can use X-ray, ACM, or CT. So abnormalities like pneumonia, pleural effusion, consolidation, TB lesion. So endoscopy, again, we can do it polyps detection. So all these are very useful techniques which will help us to identify, quantify, and aid specialists in actually detecting the abnormalities. So this can be applied for different specialization. In healthcare today, it's more about the specializations. And each specialization, actually, there is a lot of depth in it. So you have neurology and oncology, which is related to cancer and everything. Neurology is more on the brain, spine, those kinds of things. Cardiology is your heart. Orthopedics is bone, MSK, and nephro and gastro. So these are all different specializations, and you can do AI analysis based on these specializations, do the quantification, detection, everything, and based on that. So you can run it on any of the computing platforms like GPUs that you can get it. So this is one technology where we have developed to reduce the MRI scanning time. So you can reduce time by 50%. So left is like time taken 1.1 minute, and right it actually comes down to 31 seconds. So it's half the time. Like this, there are multiple sequences that they use. This is for again, one more example where we show the improvement actually helps into know the different anatomies clearly and helps to provide you the right detection. And this is another one area we are showing on the brain axial flare image. And this is the actual T2 brain. And this is the actual T2 abdomen. It's showing better vascular detailing and better hepatic signals. And it can be also applied for CT, and CT also you can see a better denoising quality and also clear lung parenchyma and better visualization of pulmonary nodules or fibrosis in the left lung. So stroke, you can look at actually detecting infarct core volume fluid DWI mismatch. These are some of the important metrics that are useful, which will help you in actually whether patient need to be undergone operation or not. And then stroke based on CT detection. So you will again you can detect the ischemic hemorrhagic strokes and and also the quantifications. And there is perfusion analysis. Of course, this is not for everybody. This is a very specialist doctors who will tell you how much of your brain is damaged during the stroke and how much it can be recovered. So that's a analysis. Again, it's based on that analysis they will detect whether the patient has to go for mechanical thrombectomy or not. This is mammal breast cancer. So you can see you will have a detection and quantification of the fibrosis and the breast cancer. And you will get the report actually, you will get the report with all the information, whether it is fibrocystic mastopathy or lymph nodes are there, and BI-RADS scoring. So there is a kind of scoring that is there, and it's called BI-RADS scoring. So you'll end up actually creating a very structured reporting and X-ray based AI audience. So X-ray is cheap, right? So you can actually guide, but it's hard to detect, anything easily. But there are things that AI can also do, and so let's see. So this is the very X-ray based AI audience detection, and then the chest again normal versus abnormal detection. Bone fractures. Bone fractures are very hard to find. Okay, one of the reasons why I started this is because it took like 2 days to find the real fracture for my, when I met with an accident, and 2 days afterwards it has to be operated. So it's not easy for anybody to actually hairline fractures to detect. So that is another area I can actually excel and provide much better fracture detection as well. Then brain tumor analysis. So basically, this is primarily used for not mainly for detection, but also main on the operation. So when you have to be operated, you need to really know the how much actually nerve fibers you're not damaging, and also the progression of the tumor, like how much has the tumor is reduced over time after the operations. So this is another pancreatic. Pancreatic is always a very hard disease, and because you always get it detected at third or fourth, and survival rate is very low. And normally when we do the treatment like chemotherapy and things, you also have to find out like how much is cancer tumors have shrunk, and that's where you actually use this kind of technology. And also this can be used for different body health metrics. When you have a visceral fat detection. So normally body fat is very important, but the subcutaneous fats, right? So they are very indicative of your actually health, okay, adipose tissue measurements. So we actually have done some work on this space as well, which can actually improve detection and show you what is your how healthy you are. And then you also can do that for the thigh fat as well, similarly. So intramuscular fat, bone fat, subcutaneous fat are very important to know. So once you have, you can also detect body organs, abnormalities, and then normally use it if you are doing somebody liver surgery, the doctors they need to actually calculate the liver volume, segmented liver volumes, and also once they remove the portion of the liver, they also need to measure what is the remnant that is there, that volume. So these are just giving a very high level idea of to people who are not actually completely into medical, but still you can see that how much profound actual implications are there in the technology, where everywhere they can be used. Okay. And not just radiology, it can also be in the histopathology. So histopathology is all your microscopic images. So when you have a blood sample or in a tissue culture, they do.
Just a gentle reminder, please. We are in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure. So this is histopathology actually also helps in grading. And when you have a someone suffers a cancer, then they have to be subjected to histopathology tests, and there you can again have to read the grading of the cancer cells. So I think I have completed my presentation. I'm happy to answer questions, and I hope it made sense and at least motivated you enough to see certain things, what is possible in radiology. Yeah, I'm happy to feel free to ask questions. Maybe another 5 minutes we can make use of to answer questions.
Okay. Thank you, Ashwin, for the wonderful overview. And it is now time for our questions. So any questions from the participants and audience online, please raise your hand. I will unmute so that you can ask your question. So, while
Sir, I have a
people,
question.
yes, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Ashwin sir. It is really a great exposure for us to know so many things you are doing it. So I have few questions, but one question I want to ask: is it possible that we can have something jointly? Are you encourage students or faculties to join collaboration work?
Yeah, I think it's a welcome thing. Of students, especially who are young, want to actually contribute in this space. I know students have sometimes feel a lot of inhibitions in actually, coming out and working in such things. But I would say the best learning happens when you really go out and work, and work with industry. Academic collaboration I feel is always a must. It benefits both ways. There are a lot of things that are happening today in AI. There are more problems to solve, and the early exposure to the young talent will always help in a long way, right? So you can always gain that expertise and build in future more good solutions in this space. So that is what we always want to encourage.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
We will be getting back to you.
Okay, thank you, Kusmita.
I have one question. If while others are thinking about their questions and deciding what to ask, so you have given the performance improvement for MRI scan and through the radiology flow, where the time reduces from 12 hours to 3 hours, which is a huge improvement. Is that data based on one hospital, or it is the summary of the benefit that has been seen in many hospitals? So what is the source of that data is one question. And second, on quick scan for CT modality, what is the data that you have in terms of time saving or improvement
Okay.
in the scan?
So first one actually is broadly based on our analysis of some of the places where we are deployed in the diagnostic centers, where they have to get the appointment and then they have to get back the reports. So we did some analysis, and based on that, what we have presented, about 70% reduction in total time. The second question regarding the CT is not more about the time, so it's already fast. So we look at actually how much dose we reduce in the CT. So we reduce about 50 to 70% dose reduction can be possible in the CT with existing machines. So after post-radiation means it is less exposure to radiation, which is good for health as well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. For CT, since it is anyway fast, the only benefit will be by doing the scan with a reduced exposure to X-rays.
Yes, correct.
And however, the radiological benefit, the workflow benefits of reduced wait time and better workflow, running a post-processing application and final diagnosis, those benefit in time saving will apply to CT and other modalities also, I suppose, right?
Yes, correct. Yes. Yeah.
Anyone else?
So
Any
I encourage
questions?
students to ask questions. Yeah, I encourage the students to ask questions. Because the whole point of I'm actually spending time here is to actually, motivate the students and also hear from them as well. So please ask questions. Don't hesitate to ask questions.
I'm definite that students are having a lot of questions. So what we will be doing it, we will collect the question and we will try to share with you, sir.
Sure, Kusumika.
Is that okay, Ashwin? Because anyway, we cannot take more than one question, though students
Okay.
are take time to come up with their questions and
No, but
get
I
it correct.
encourage at least one question from the student. I know it's time is a constraint,
Yes.
but they have to
So,
participate.
students
Otherwise, it
and
will be
faculty, if there is any other questions, please come forward.
one question from one of the students. Otherwise, it doesn't feel good. No one? Okay, that means that I'm not able to communicate well.
No. It is that students, it is hard to get them to speak. Is the experience that I have gained in Dayanand Sagar College.
No, that's what I want to
So
change
whatever you do,
it
they
is,
don't come forward to ask questions. I think it is
yeah.
the
So don't feel
mindset
bad about it,
of the
actually.
students here.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
But I know otherwise students are very interested in taking up interesting work, and I'm sure they will be, as Professor Kusumika has mentioned that. If there are any questions subsequently that students or faculty come forward to, maybe we will just summarize it and send it to you so that you can, if possible, you can give response to that.
Okay, sure. Yeah, thanks.
So thank you so much, Ashwin, for your wonderful overview and the excellent work that I see AI Chemist is doing in improving the workflow and scan time for MR scan, as well as the suite of applications for pulmo, for nephrology, for cardiac and brain, the nervous system. These will, I'm sure, will be a big benefit to doctors in hospitals in India, and an Indian IT startup working in deep tech solutions and providing these solutions is a very wonderful sign for all of us and thing to be proud of. So thank you once again. And as a token of appreciation, we will send you a small gift voucher from Amazon, just as a small token of appreciation from our side by mail.
Thanks, Dr. Abin, for the invitation. I know you are also expert in this area, so I'm pretty sure people would also involve in more in this kind of work here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So I would be like to invite Dr. Diptendu Sinha Roy from NIT Meghalaya. I'm really grateful to invite him because he is agreed in spite having so much of work lined up for him. I request Sahana to introduce Dr. Diptendu Sinha Roy.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a true honor to introduce our distinguished speaker, Professor Dipendu Sinha Roy. He is currently serving as a professor in Department of Computer Science and Engineering and Dean of a Research Consultancy at National Institute of Technology, Meghalaya. He has completed his PhD in Engineering from Birla Institute of Technology in 2010. With more than 200 research publication and 3,000 citation and AH index above 30, Professor Roy has made significant contribution in areas such as IoT, next generation communication, networks, edge and for computing, smart city infrastructure and intelligent system. His works focus on developing scalable, efficient, and sustainable computing solution for real world challenges. As a dean of research and consultancy, he actively promotes interdisciplinary research, leads funded projects, and builds strong nation and international collaboration. He also supervised several sponsored research initiatives, particularly in edge-enabled smart cities. Is senior member of IEEE and ACM in 2000. He received a travel grant from French Embassy in India for research collaboration at LIP Laboratory from French. Adding to his remarkable achievement, Professor Roy was recognized among the top 2% researcher worldwide in 2025 by Stanford University. We are truly privileged to have such a academician and researcher with us today. Now, over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Dr. Sahana. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly for the kind introduction. Same for Dr. Dutta also. So I deem it a great pleasure to be with all of you at this National Congress 2026 on AI for Inclusive and Sustainable Growth. One of you can kindly confirm if my screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, so today is 17th, on 12th, I received this. So basically, this says that as a part of this AI summit, which is going on in Delhi, I was a member from the state of Meghalaya. So 3:30, I have a meeting. So this is a physical meeting, which I have requested to convert it for this engagement. So this came at the very last moment. But anyway, I'll try to keep it very, very short. So assuming that my screen is visible, and I don't think there is need for like this. I'll start this. My topic, as you can see, is energy efficient collaborative duty cycling. So I'm cutting it short because I have to finish in, let's say, 20 minutes max, and then we'll see if we have any discussions. So what I will do is that I'll give you the overall like bird's eye view of it, how I'm going to treat it. The PPT which was made was more from a standpoint of an academic researcher. However, keeping in mind that we are talking here for this AI for inclusive growth and inclusive and sustainable growth, I think I brief for the first 5-7 minutes. I'll brief you on this topic of sustainability and how AI can help in it. Then I'll spend some time on, let's say, what it means for a sustainable industries. So some part of that, very short, within a very 5-7 minutes, maybe 10 minutes at max, I'll give you the essence of the technical work, the contribution which we had done from an academic researcher's point of view. So naturally, I'm not going to the details of the 26 slides which are there in this presentation. Okay, and then finally, I'll come back and then see how we can connect it with the Sustainable Development Goals as the United Nations has corroborated, and how this research which we conducted at NIT Meghalaya connects to it. So more or less that is the breakup with like in four sections of 5 minutes each. So I wish I don't get delayed. Fine. So let me begin with a small mental image. Okay. All of you try to imagine a factory that never sleeps. What happens in a factory is, so we are talking of sustainable industries. So there are machines communicate with each other. Modern day factories, so they have to have a lot of IoT, Internet of Things type of devices, and also they communicate with each other. There are sensors to monitor a number of physical parameters, be it the temperature, the air quality, the level of vibration, so on and so forth. So AI is used frequently for predicting failures. So predictive maintenance. So it's not just about predicting failures. So replacements, and also if you can predict it, saves a lot of time, money, and increases the efficiency of the production unit per se. So this is the promise that AI brings to the smart industry. Okay, smart industries, and the topic here that I am concentrating on is to make, I mean, basically a scientific, a proposal how we can make smart industries to become sustainable. Okay, so behind every smart system, there has to be number of sensors for doing the sensing, the processing, transmitting the data. And in fact, what might happen is that the systems, because we want it to run 24/7, industries never sleep. To in that sense, it brings us to a point where we think of constant sensing, constant communication, constant processing, which always also incurs or like entails to a constant consumption of energy. So here there is a paradox. Technology which is designed to improve the efficiency of, let's say, a smart industry or a factory with a number of machines, that can quietly increase the energy consumption. So today I want to explore how we can make smart industries not just intelligent, but energy aware and sustainable. So I'm focusing on that part of that this AI Congress, the sustainability part. So what is the core problem? So I'll go back to the slides as I promised. So the slides are made more or less in an academic manner. So that I'll go within 5-7 minutes. But before that, I'm setting up the platform and connecting it with the sustainability goals, SDG goals as per the United Nations. So that's my mandate. So in an IoT-enabled industry, the sensors must always remain alert. Okay, so if there is something which doesn't go as per plan, let's say a motor overheats, the detection has to be immediate. So if the vibrations cross certain limits, or in a plant the temperature crosses beyond the allowable threshold limits, so there has to be an alert, which for which some action has to follow immediately. So the obvious solution, the intuitive solution is to keep everything active, all the sensing and communication and processing and the actuation, which means like immediate action, whatever is taken. So that actuation, everything has to happen or be alert all the time. So all the systems or the subsystems has to be powered constantly, 24/7. So obviously, so that will drain the energy. What can be an alternative to this? So the intuitive alternative also is that, let's say, instead of keeping all the devices constantly awake throughout the time duration, let the devices sleep off during, I mean, as frequently as it is possible. But then that comes not at the, I mean, life is always a compromise. So what we are compromising is the risk of missing certain critical events. Okay, so the fundamental question it becomes is that how do we balance this reliability of monitoring the systems with the energy efficiency? I hope you get this paradox. So there is, on one hand, if you want to have a system which is constantly monitored, completely monitored, so you have to power them constantly. Alternative is you do it intermittently, you power them on and power them off, and in the process you save some energy. So this is like the fundamental challenge. So this leads us to the concept of what I have referred to here as duty cycling, as you can see here. So duty cycling, basically it refers to switching of devices between two modes. One is the active mode, where it is doing its own job. So for sensors it can be sensing, for everything is packaged together, but then sensing or transmitting or doing some amount of pre-decided like processing. So basically taking breaks between these two modes, an active mode and a sleep mode. Okay, so this is what we mean by duty cycling. So you can think of it like in a large facility, like security guards. So if there are 10 people who are like securing the place, rotating, what should I say, moving from one side to the other and keeping vigil about the security of the place. So it's not necessary that 10 people always has to keep the same vigil. It can be done in a manner where some guards switch off or take rest and then they come back. And this is the idea here is that why we are I'm trying to focus on this particular term, collaborative duty cycling. The idea is that although we are talking of 10 security guards for this example, each one of them has their own individuality. However, if they individually go and try to take rest or like decide their own cycles of when they wake up and when they sleep, so that might lead to a situation where the vigil goes down. Okay, the security gets compromised. So that we will see in this discussion how we can do it in a collaborative manner, where those 10 security guards, with collaborative understanding between them, they can have a sustainable way of keeping vigil for this particular system. I hope this analogy goes with you. So why is it possible? You might ask that why it is possible to do a collaborative duty cycling. The reason is very obvious, because all the devices which form the part of, or which form the different components of a smart industry or a smart production facility or a smart factory. So these devices, they are part of the same network. So they are part of the same network. They overlap, they share the same coverage area, and they operate collectively. So if we talk of sensors, there can be n different types of sensors, but then placed within the same compound. So it is always it always happens that there is overlap between the range of sharing which these sensors can do. So if we can intelligently switch on and off between the power on modes for these sensors, it can give us a fully what should I say, observable system. Okay, so the idea here is that how we can make these devices collaborate, okay, in a smart IoT sort of a way. So at this point of time, I'll just briefly try to step into the technical foundation of the academic research. and like walk you through the methodology and the architecture behind this collaborative energy aware approach. Okay, so basically I'll not go slide by slide through this. No. So at the end I'll show you the publication out of this work, but I'll focus on one specific slide here because the dearth of time and in the common interest. Okay, so our approach basically integrates three primary components, which you can see here. One is the energy awareness modeling, where each node, be it, I mean, whatever IoT node you can think of, the sensors, actuators, everything together, where each node monitors and evaluates its residual energies. And these are actually, we use a clustering methodology in order to make clusters within that group of devices. So if there are different types of sensors, let's say temperature sensors, pressure sensors, and I mean, and whatever the actuators be it, so we form groups such that all the different sensors are represented in each of the groups within that shop floor. Okay, then the second part is a collaborative decision making mechanism where the neighboring nodes coordinate their activation schedules, like when they get powered on and when they switch themselves off. And this, for doing this, we propose to have a stochastic optimization mechanism. So we use genetic algorithm as a baseline solution, and like depending upon the sensors and the other properties, like try to group these, activate these using the clusters which were already there with the representative clusters, so that the overall energy is like minimized. And then because in a shop floor, although there are machines, it's not that all the machine or all the components are completely like fixed, particularly in this day and age where the shop floor, one single shop floor is actually meant to do multitasking. So there are small adjustments which can happen. There are mobile robots and all which has come into the shop floor. So then the baseline scenario keeps changing. Okay, particularly if you think of a production line, and the production lines have also become dynamic based on the workload they have. So it's not that shop floor is always doing the same work based on the orders which come. So there are certain manipulations or modifications which has to be happen within the shop floor. So that is the reason why this clustering approach and the optimization, these two steps which I talked of, so they it's not that the optimization or the optimum schedules which are decided for this duty cycling, this will remain optimum for all different permutations and combinations or all different scenarios. So duty cycling, the adjustments has to be made since the systems are dynamic in nature, and the environmental conditions and the operational changes keep happening. Okay, so we use a reinforcement learning mechanism for implementing this. And what we did was that basically just like we do it for anything, so we developed the AI algorithms for these three steps, and we tested it with, like as you can see, with so I'm not going into the models because step by step how did we model the clustering technique. So we used multiple existing clustering techniques, and then just like in a hypothetical situation, we propose a hypothesis and then test it out with different clustering mechanisms and see through empirical results which one works out well. So we model the energy consumptions similarly for different scenarios. Then we also model the entire industry energy consumption formulation, and then based on that we took it as an objective function, and then modeled it in a, as far as the way we do it, we different using the different encoding mechanisms that we have, and proposed a genetic algorithm based sensor scheduling algorithm. So basically that is what the duty cycling approach we had said. So sensor scheduling means when the sensors decide when to wake up, when to go to sleep. And then, as I told you, we use a collaborative approach. So we use reinforcement learning for doing that, and we test it out. Okay. So basically, this is the experimentation part. So for experimentation, we took the data from a existing shop floor which was openly available, and then tested it out on a simulator using this iFoxin simulator. Basically, the idea was that the entire ecosystem of ICT, the ICT ecosystem which exists for the shop floor for the monitoring and control, so that is all maintained in the fog, because these are all latency sensitive decisions which has to take place. So we took 30 different operational units and the varying number of sensor nodes deployed at each of these units. Then for the simulation, we varied the number of sensors from 100 to 800, basically all empirical experimentation. And we did it in increments of 50 nodes at a time. And we proposed, we tried out with two energy efficient collaborative duty cycling approaches. Once using the GA, the other one was without GA, and we used multiple for the clustering portion. We used, so it's like a permutation and combination of all these different mechanisms using the k-means clustering algorithm, and everything was simulated in iFoxing. Okay, so not going for the it will be a presentation in itself if we go into the details of the experimentation and the results, but very briefly we go into the results. So what we observed here was that we plotted the energy consumption with the increments in terms of the number of nodes, as I told you, 100 to 800, so that you can see the number of nodes, sensor nodes. So, and then what we did was that we tried to plot out what happens to the energy consumption at different levels of duty cycling. So the first result here, this figure 5 of the published paper. What I mean here is that, so this was done with I think 90% duty cycling, and the other figure 6 was done with 80% duty cycling, and the last one where the workload was much lesser, so with a 50% duty cycling approach. Okay, so and then we plotted out the power consumption, and then tried to figure out the what happens with the results. Again, the observations are shown. So with it was found that approximately with this genetic algorithm approach, so when we optimize the duty cycles, so it always, compared to the non-optimized cases, so we got around 16 to 20% of energy consumption could be saved. And the GA-based approach was much better than the k-means clustering approach. Okay, so and these because these were empirical results for the different scenarios, for different permutations and combinations. So large number of results were obtained, which we are not explaining here for the sake of time, but we come to the conclusion that this was our observation, that the proposed cluster-based sensor activeness management, basically this duty cycling management, when it was done in a collaborative approach, so it gave us much better results than when the individual nodes were clustered and then they tried to themselves try to decide when to switch on and off. Okay, and this was of course done with a fixed amount of fully observable cases. Of course, we assumed that the sleep and wake up cycles were done in such a manner, duty cycles were maintained such that the total observability is not lost. So let's say in a cluster there are, which essentially means that if there are 5 types of sensors, it's not that out of the representation is always there by the all the 5 types. So if there are, let's say, out of the 5 classes of sensors, let's say there is a vibration sensor, so that vibration sensor can have 10 different instances of it in a same cluster, but at least there are let's say 2 vibration sensors are minimally required to make the entire vibration measurement feasible in a completely observable manner. So 2 are at least this thing working at any given point in time. Getting my point or not? So in that way, the condition was that the observability was not compromised. With that, we found that with the GA-based optimal duty cycling optimizer with reinforcement learning gave us much improved results. So that's it. And based on this work, actually, just let me. So based on this work, actually, this was published last year in March. This is in IEEE transaction on industrial informatics. So that I mean gives us like the. Oh, my screen was not visible.
It was visible.
I don't know. I thought my screen was visible. So anyway, I mean, I complete the. I don't want to share it anymore. Okay, just so this was the idea. I'll see if there are any questions at this point in time based on the work that we did. Like because there are a lot of details which had to be abstracted, so it is not possible to completely tell that. So if there are any 1 or 2 questions from the student side, how we did it and how it benefits, that's okay. Otherwise, I'll in the next 2 minutes I'll try to summarize like how this work connects to the sustainability goals. So at this point, just take a break.
One of the questions we have received in the chat board,
Okay.
that is, how is the system managing to understand and detect which machine has to be moved more work than the other and ensure energy sustainability? Because there might be scenarios where either machine has to be overworked or it might underwork due to the certain circumstances.
Okay, so this is again, this is beyond the work that we have done in production systems. What happened is that here the idea is that we are talking of the sensors which make the production system observable. So basically the sensing ecosystem and how we have an ICT infrastructure at the back end and energy minimization thereof. It's not like we are not talking of sustaining or minimizing the energy for the production system or the machines themselves. You get my point? So AI works only when there is data. Data in this context is not of the, I mean, for a production system or in a smart industry, it's not directly the energy consumption at the of the devices. So they will take their fixed amount of energy for doing their own functions. What we are saying is that a smart industry is always associated with a number of sensors for making those systems observable, so that any event happens, the monitoring system takes over and generates the event alerts. Getting my point? So we are talking of duty cycling for the sensors which are for this, let's say the what should I say, the monitoring subsystem, energy optimization of the monitoring subsystem within the floor plant. Okay, shop floor or the production floor, whichever way you put it. So if you are talking of which machine to be switched off or switched on, we are not talking of that. We are telling that every system needs to be a smart industry needs monitoring. So based on so how do we minimize this thing or optimize the active number of sensors which are monitoring, keeping the vigil in that sense? Okay, I think so that was the like conceptual level this thing. So it's in that sense we are not deciding at all which one to switch on or which one to switch off. Right. So I go forward in the next like 5 minutes or so. I'll just finish, and I'll not take any other questions because like you're already late. So anyway, that was the engineering core of the solution that I discussed. Let's step back and see how this matters beyond the algorithm that we proposed. Okay, so what does such a system, I mean such a sustainable system mean to us in reality? So it means that, let's say for that particular observable or that particular monitoring this thing ecosystem, we need fewer number of battery replacements, lower electronic waste, reduce maintenance costs. No, maintenance costs reduce if we can somehow or the other increase the lifetime. So similarly, low electronic waste in terms of by this duty cycling, if we are able to what should I say, increase the operational time of the sensors in that sense. So everything, so fewer battery replacements, lower electronic waste, so greater operational stability because you don't have to stop the shop floor. Okay, and although we are talking of only the monitoring subsystem, but the effects are very, very large. I mean, every shop floor will have thousands of devices, I mean, sensor devices, and there are thousands and thousands of such factories. So, although the energy saved is in terms of uh, a few tens of joules or sorry, a few tens of watts or milliwatts, if you multiply it over the millions of these things which operates across the world, so that creates a macro level impact. Okay, so sustainability, as we usually are fond of thinking, it's like generating renewable energy. It's much more than that. So it's about the intelligent consumption and how we can harness smart technologies to maintain this to maintain the or to reduce the uh, what should I say, the energy which is there at our disposal. So the total amount of energy we have which is being produced is fixed. So how we can use it better. So that's why we need always want energy efficient solutions so that it becomes, and AI must optimize not just the performance, because as I told you at the beginning, it's not just about monitoring everything. We have to be responsible. The responsibility lies unto us to make AI what should I say, AI responsible by designing energy efficiency as a part of it. So this work that we did, that I discussed, operationalizes sustainability within all AI-driven industrial ecosystems. So in that sense, if I don't have a figure of it, the sustainability development goals, so there are 17 of them which are there, SDGs by United Nations and identified. So this work addresses the SDG 7 by improving energy efficiency at the network level. So SDG 7, the Sustainability Development Goal of UN number 7, more specifically 7.3, specifically tells of energy efficiency of all the devices. So at the network level, we're talking of that OSI stack in that sense. At the network level, it saves energy. The proposed model also strengthens the SDG 9 through resilient and sustainable digital infrastructure. So UN says that the sustainability development goal says that for every system, be it industrial or whatever, for seamless operation, there should be a digital infrastructure which has to be maintained robustly. So it also addresses that. It also supports SDG 12 by enabling responsible energy consumption patterns in the smart production environment. And it also contributes to SDG 13 by reducing the aggregate carbon footprint. So this is like a big takeaway, SDG number 13, which basically attempts to like reduce the carbon footprint. So if we do it at a micro level within the monitoring infrastructure of smart factories with millions of factories all over the world, so this will make a macro level impact. So in that sense, we feel that this contributes to all these 4 sustainable development goals. So the next phase of AI evolution, as I told you at the beginning, should focus not just on the performance of the AI solutions that we build, but it should also think of the next evolution at least should also be thinking of like green and sustainable, and of course the theme that I discussed, collaborative AI, where multiple agents can share relevant data and make energy consumption a point to reduce. Okay, so let me close with this thought. The future will not be defined, that the future of AI, of course, will not just be defined by the scale and the power and the speed that AI provides, but also on how we can build a sustainable future for all of us. So AI, while developing AI as budding engineers or AI engineers or computer science engineers or whatever be your like field of engineering, for the student, it is very important that you be thoughtful while developing your AI algorithm. So intelligence without efficiency, if you are developing solutions like that, it is wasteful. And wasteful, I mean, it's not good to be wasteful, because all resources, they are limited. And efficiency without sustainability is temporary. So if you want that the systems that we are building today keeps running and powering the future generations, they have to go on. So it's not temporary. But the intelligence with sustainability is what is like transformational. So with that hope, with that thing in mind, with that awareness, I want to leave the students with that, who all will be like budding engineers, but with AI as a powerful tool. Keep in mind that along with the power of AI, the mandate is unto you to develop systems which are all which at least keeps an eye on being sustainable. Thank you. If there are any further questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, Dr. Deeptindu. Actually, we are delighted to have this solution as the morning keynote session itself. Our keynote speaker, Dr. Arun D, has sent this consent that energy is a big challenge. He has also told us about the statistic about it, and it was an awareness that what is the number of equipments are consuming water and energy. And we are really delighted to have that one solution you have put forward here, and opening a session that students can think about it and going forward for it. Thank you so much. And a part of gratitude and thank you, we will be sending a e-voucher to your mail ID. Hope it will be useful for you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So I have done my 2 cents of sustainability inputs. So I look forward to all the students to take up this as a mandate. And while developing your solutions, go ahead. Thank you and good
Sure,
luck.
definitely we will be. And we need your help on that line as well. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am. I have one more meeting, so I'll be leaving.
Yeah, thank you. Let's now shift gears. Sorry for the delay. The next session, the next topic will be generative AI in sustainable healthcare. We have a distinguished speaker, Dr. Deepa Anand, who is a senior staff AI scientist at GE Healthcare. Which is specializing in medical imaging and AI research. Her contributions lie in advanced imaging analysis, foundation model development, and computational techniques that support clinical decision support tools. She has many years of experience in industry and academia. She's a very dynamic person who excels in her clarity of thinking and expression. With this brief introduction, let me invite Dr. Deepa Anand to enlighten us on sustainable healthcare.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Dr. Krishnan. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I'll be sharing my screen and just a sec. Let me know if you're able to see it.
Yes, maybe you can put in full screen.
I'll actually, if you are able to see, if everyone is able to see the screen, I would prefer to not go into the screen share, or is it like too small?
Yeah, sure. It is. No,
because I want to switch
readable.
to the browser also. Some.
No problem. No problem. It is.
Yeah,
it is okay.
All right. So let me know at some point if you feel it's too small, then I can switch. So please, everyone, this is. I'll be talking more generically, I think, than the previous presentation on how generative AI for sustainable healthcare how does that work, right? So I'll start. When we talk about generative AI, and I'm sure you've had multiple sessions today, I don't know, there were some on agentic as well. So agentic is the buzzword, but generally if we think about generative AI, there could be different kinds of generative AI, right? The first thing that comes to our mind is LLMs, of course. But generative AI, started quite some time back. Like we had GANs and all for images, right? For image generation, video generation. Then we had this thing of transformers for language, right? Where that itself seemed very magical to us that, you give a sentence and it could complete, the sentence, predict the next word kind of a thing. But to me, at least, from my perspective, in the language domain, the first thing that really wowed me was when we saw GPT-2, right? And I think at least for me, that was the first time I saw examples of few shot prompting, where you could just give an example, say, see, for this example, if this this is the input, this should be the output. Then if this is the input, then what should be the output? So it was, even in 2019, GPT-2 was able to do that, and that was really a wow movement. But of course, after that, we have seen multiple, stages where we saw GPT-3, 3.5, 4, and now we are in the agentic era. Of course, everything is done using agents. We have agents creating social, media or whatever, right? The social network, etc. So it's really crazy, right? So of course, the progress that we've seen in the last few years has been really tremendous. But if I look at the last 3 months itself, the kind of progress or the kind of things, or the field is so dynamic. It is really at the same time thrilling and a little scary, in fact. So yeah, I mean, we've had, so all these generative AI models, normally, I mean, the ones that we see, the body of models that we see, all the visual language models also are based on something called foundation models, which basically show the property of emergence, which means that they have the ability to perform tasks which they are not even been trained for, correct, right? So this has kind of been the evolution, and now I'm just listing some of the really wow things that the current generation of generative AI models can do. So I'm sure many of you would have seen agentic browsing. So I will show that in the next slide. I'll just switch to this. So for example, this is a video that I'm playing where you have a particular request. You want to fill a form, right? This is the prompt. You want to fill out the vendor request, and this is that form. You have an Excel sheet of all the vendors, or you have some of the information also in your CRM. So look at how it's able to, this is using Claude, and it's able to look at, the query, and it is saying that it'll find the vendor information from this Excel sheet, and that's what it's trying to do. It's able to do it itself, and then it says, I'm not able to find it here. So it's going to go to the CRM and search for this, right? Look at this, right? I can see the vendor search in this portal. So it's able to actually physically go, or, go to the tab, search for something, get that information, and also fill this form, right? That to me is, something. So yeah, so it's just, going, scrolling down, getting more information, and then, trying to fill this. I'll just go ahead and just show you that it's able to fill this form. So that's really truly amazing. Of course, there are other examples of real-time translation. So translation has been around for quite some time, but we are talking about audio to audio translation, also preserving the user tone, etc., right? So this is an example I just wanted to show you of a person who's speaking, and this is a work by Meta AI. And you can notice how when he speaks in some Spanish or something, it's able to translate to English, mimicking the same tone and the whisper and the emotion, etc. So right, I don't know whether.
So we are not getting the audio.
Oh, you're not able to hear it? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. That's fine. So just wanted to just show you that these are some, how do I, all right. And similarly, creative generation is something that we kind of have seen it, right? I mean, we have images and videos coming up, Gen AI, LLM or VLM created videos, and that's really something that we have all experienced. But I also want to just point out that, of course, all these models, come with a cost, right? We have to kind of pay for the API use, etc. But I also wanted to point out, maybe all of you are aware, but there are many powerful open source models which are out there. And recently, Quen is a model that I have been experimenting with, and I've been kind of blown away by the way it works. So these are, models which are open. Therefore, they have Apache license. You can actually install it on your machine, use it. You can use quantized version or whatever. So there is a family of models that they have released. For example, visual question answering is something that they do. So for example, if this is an image and I want to ask, where was this picture taken? So they have these Quen, they expose these notebooks, right? Jupyter notebooks, to show what it does when you ask this question. You are taking this, I don't know how to, okay. You're taking this image and saying, where was this picture taken? And this Qwen actually inbuilt, it has an agentic, mode, right, in which it operates. So it look at how it's kind of operating. When we look at it, it has a zoom in tool that we have given it to it. So what it does is it zooms into different signs that are there in that image. So it kind of zooms in to this, and it says, I need to figure out where the picture was taken. The building is clearly a pub called Hopin, which has a great starting point. So it kind of goes in and zooms in. Then it looks at other parts of the image. It zooms in here to see that, is there a phone number here? Is there an address written somewhere here? And from that phone number, that it has kind of inferred that this is near Southampton, kind of a thing, right? And then it sees that what are the other things which will give it some clue. So it zooms onto the car plate number to say that, what is this car, does this registration give me some clue, and so on, right? So the entire model operates in a agentic mode, and this is completely free. Also, it has many other models for image generation, LLM, and for code as well. But some of these were very truly, I found them really great, because it does OCR so well, right? From this bill, which is so blurred, etc., you can extract the text out and so on. So this is really a very promising field, is what I feel. But when we talk about sustainability, the first thing that comes to our mind is the environment, right? Obviously, when we talk about sustainable development, then environment is what, right? So when we talk about GenAI models, all these are billions and billions of parameters big, and obviously they consume a lot of energy, right from their training to their usage, right? So GenAI is power hungry. So these are some statistics. I'm sure you would have looked at many other statistics as well. So when we look at only the data center, consumption of power, it's 4 to 6% of US electricity. And then this is a carbon dioxide and water consumption per query, that some quantification that we have. But if we look at the healthcare industry itself, right, there is, it accounts for a lot of unsustainable whatever, right? In terms of environment, we talk about global emissions. There is so much of waste that is generated, so much of power it consumes. So the whole point is that how do we use this Gen AI in order to give us a benefit which is much more than the consumption that we talk about here, right? So that's where the sustainability comes into picture. And we do not talk only about environment. When we talk about sustainability, there could be, other than environmental, that could be operational, right? You have workforce, right? We have shortage. So what about humans, right? There is so much of burden on them, right? So then you have economic. There is so much of money that is spent on high care cost system and all. And then you have quality and equity. So for example, let's just take an example of, let's say, rescans in MR, right? Say for example, MRI. So when a patient comes for MRI, what happens is 20% of the times, and many of the MR scans are pretty long, right? So 20%, at least 20% of the times, the patient has to go for a rescan. The reason for this could be that the person who is doing the scan may be inexperienced, okay, or they may be very fatigued, or due to some other reason, right? There could be multiple reasons because of which the scan was not done correctly, the parameters were not set correctly, and therefore the scan has to be done again. Now think about it, that kind of ties into all of these, right? So when we do more rescans, obviously that has an environmental impact. It also it leads to more burden on the technologist, who has to do more work, right? 20% more work. Economic, of course, because the machines are on for longer, or they are being used. And also the people who really need it have to wait because of this additional burden, right? So it ties into all these pillars of sustainability. And so therefore, definitely AI and Gen AI specifically, all the body of models that we have currently, can lead to a very large set of benefits. So I'll just be talking about a few real examples of where Gen AI is transforming healthcare. So the first is in the medical imaging and diagnostics. So you have certain examples here of AI-powered radiology, right, which detects lung cancer 5% more accurately than radiologists, and it does this analysis in just 30 seconds versus the 10 minutes done by the experts. So obviously, this is obviously a huge gain, right, both in terms of efficiency as well as time and accuracy. Similarly, you have digital pathology analysis models. There's Google's Lina, which is accurate as well as, reduces the review time for pathology, breast cancer metastasis. This one example I wanted to show you, because here, if you look at it, the radiologist is able to interact with an image while also, showing his cursor to say what is here, what is here. So I just wanted you to just take a look. So this is the question. The study is from which part of the body, and this is obviously a VLM, right? It's able to reason with the image. It is able to reason with the audio. It is able to reason with the text. So it's a multimodal model. So it's able to look at how it's able to reply, right? This is an MRI of the shoulder, and it's a specific image you are appointing is a coronal view, right? So what are the main changes you observe in the study? So, right, the most significant finding is the increased signal intensity. So he is able to show the cursor here and ask, what is the issue, etc. Right? So it's asking what is the issue with the region I'm pointing to, and then increased signal intensity, etc. So it's able to kind of answer these questions while scrolling through the image. So it's able to interact in multiple ways, multimodality model. This is truly. And other applications include drug discovery and development, right? You might have heard of AlphaFold. And we have the latest model, which is AlphaFold 3, which is able to understand or predict the protein structures, and not only predict these protein structures, but also able to show, how do they interact, the different proteins and other components, how do they interact with each other. And this is a really phenomenal step. And this discovery that it does, the prediction that it does is, these are some of the statistics. So this is drug discovery and development. Of course, it's a huge area, right, which impacts healthcare very, very positively and very largely. And as AI developers, I thought this is something that is important. GenAI as a meta tool for accelerating. So if we are developing AI tools for healthcare, then we also use in our daily practice, we also use GenAI as meta tool for the entire training pipeline, right? From generating synthetic data, because in healthcare, you don't have access to real data. It's very difficult to get data, and there are a lot of regulations. So synthetic data generation can really help us to expand our data pool, etc. Code generation, debugging, I think all streams use it. Automated annotations, right? I mean, we need to train smaller models. So annotations can be done by these, GenAI tools, etc., which are really very powerful. Experimental design, model documentation, rapid prototyping, all these can be done by these. And of course, another application is the clinical documentation and workflow, where, you can do the dictation, right? So when a patient, a doctor and patient converse with each other, after that, the doctor spends a lot of time in, noting down what was the conversation, because for the record. Similarly, when an ultrasound is being done, then the ultrasonist needs to kind of, it's not only for ultrasound, but for other modalities as well. They need to make a lot of notes, and there's a lot of time that goes into preparing these notes. So typically, this is a video, again, I wanted to show where, the patient and doctor are interacting, and there is a DAX. This is an app which kind of, does this dictation, right? And it's able to listen to it. And in the end, I'm just, because we are short of time, I will just show you that it's able to kind of, make these notes or summary of this entire conversation with all the topics, that is in a summary in a very nice way, right? So I will kind of move to the next one. And this is the last, just quickly, this is for the oncology treatment. Oncology is, again, a field where there is a lot of development every day, right? It's a very dynamic field. So we have AI-powered oncology treatment recommendations from Watson for oncology. This is from Fletron Health, which analyzes patient genomics, medical. So again, multiple modality of patient data and a lot of medical literature to give the treatment option, which the doctors miss 30% of the times. So yeah, these are some applications that I've shown. And of course, these are some sustainable GenAI development deployment strategies. We typically should, if when we talk about sustainability, it's preferable that we go for smaller LLMs, which are specific to domain. So we fine tune them. We have model distillation, then we use inference on the edge alone. RAG is something that has come up as, something which can minimize the amount of data that goes to the LLM, thereby, reducing the footprint. And we can have metrics which kind of measure that how our AI models are using. These can be some of the metrics also in measuring the model performance. And with that, I'll just stop. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Dr. Deepa. Any questions? I hope you'll have time for a couple of questions.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah. Any question from the audience? Okay, I think I get the privilege then to ask the question. Can you highlight any very successful AI feature that has made it into deployment in your GE products and which is a huge success?
Yeah, sure. So we have multiple, so I don't know which one to choose, but definitely, okay. This, we have this DL-based resolution enhancement for MRI images, right? So that's been a really huge success, and there are many multiple others, right? For example, scan prescription, right? So for MRI, typically when you do a planning, that planning stage itself becomes a very large, bottleneck because it takes a lot of time. So we have AI-based or DL-based planners, etc., which have really been very successful.
And also, do you give your customers the option to go the manual way, suppressing these AI features?
Yeah, certainly. That's always kind of, you always have to have that lever to be able to, after we give the option. So then the user should have the ability to kind of also modify if needed, right? Because we cannot always, 100% surety is never there, right? So we cannot give,
Yeah. Thank you. And one last chance for the participants. Dr. Deepa also has a hard cutoff in case any of you have a question. Otherwise, we'll conclude this session. Thanks a lot, Dr. Deepa, for your time and taking time to make this presentation with us. And as a token of gratitude from our college, I'll be mailing you a thanks letter and a voucher. Thanks for taking time to talk to us. Thanks a lot on behalf of all participants.
Thank you so much, Dr. Krishnan. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. That brings us to the final agenda item, which is concluding this one-day National Congress. I think it has been a day filled with a lot of enlightening talks, sharing of experiences, and I'm sure all of us had a very good good number of knowledge sessions, and very motivating also. And I think that I would like to conclude this National Congress event with a word of thanks. There are so many people who made this possible and who contributed to the success, starting with our management, Dr. D. Premchandra Sagar, our chairman, Dr. D. Hemachandra Sagar, our vice chairman, Sri Gali Swami sir, our secretary, and also the joint secretaries of Dayanand Sagar family, and our principal, Dr. B.G. Prasad, and who has been very supportive to holding this event, and our Dr. Ramesh Babu sir, who is also the vice principal and HOD computer science, who was the motivating factor behind the whole planning for this workshop, planning for this National Congress and conducting it. And our co-department, AIML, who partnered with computer science, their HOD, Dr. Vidya Malagi, and my fellow co-conveners, Dr. Amuta, Dr. Arvind Kumar Gupta, Dr. Kavita, and also we had a thanks a lot to all. And we had a very dynamic steering committee with our associate and assistant professors supporting us, Dr. Kirti, Dr. Nagaraju, Professor Sunanda, Professor Shahida, Professor Aparna, Professor Punit Kumar, Dr. Kusumika Kori Dutta from AIML, and Professor Ramya from AIML. And this event would not have been possible without support from our distinguished speakers. We had our chief guest in the morning, Mr. Arun Devadiga from Siemens, Mr. Bharat Hegde from TON Knowledge Services, Mr. Dr. Sanjay Chitnis, Vice Chancellor Reva University, Dr. Satyajit Das from IIT Guwahati, Mr. Ashwin from CEO Alchemist, and Dr. Dipendu Sinha Rai, our Dean R&D NIT Meghalaya, and our final speaker, Dr. Deepa Anand from GE Healthcare. All of them with their good talks kind of made this event very interesting and useful to all of us. And not last but not the least, to all our participants for kind of making time to attend these sessions and gain from it. A big thank you to all of you. With this, I conclude this National Congress 2026, thanking one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Maybe we will close this call. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.